Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. Starship Troopers, Traitor of Mars is a new animated movie based on the Starship Troopers series of movies. And I think what makes this one interesting, it has Casper Van Dien returning for the voice of Johnny Rico, and Dina Meyer returns as the voice of Diz, if you remember who she was in the very first Starship Troopers movie. Now, I've been a huge fan of Starship Troopers, certainly the first movie, the 1997 movie, and I remember going to see that at the cinema with my mates. Oh, probably about 5 or 6 times in a couple of weeks. We absolutely loved it. An absolutely tremendous movie, and has really stood the test of time, really. It's still very, very good today. They've kind of ruined that a little bit with the sequels. They've done, I think, 2 sequels, and I think my understanding is Casper Van Dien returned for the third one, Marauder, and I believe they've also done another animated one, I think in about 2012, which I've not seen. And I've not seen any of the sequels. I've seen a bit of the second one, but not all of it. But needless to say, I was quite interested to see this movie. I saw the trailer and I thought it looked really impressive in regards to its animation, and some of the ideas that it had, some of the direction it was taking the Starship Troopers in. So I thought I would give this one a go. And it tells the story of, we have Johnny Rico, who is stationed at Mars now, on like a base above Mars. His job is to train Martians who are humans who have grown up on Mars to be part of the mobile infantry. But they're not doing very well in the simulations that we see. They're basically more of a liability than anything. But due to circumstances that I don't want to get into for spoilers, bugs start appearing on Mars, and everybody has to go down to the surface of Mars and fight these bugs, whether they're ready for combat or not. And that includes Johnny Rico and his crew that he's training, many others, and also some characters who were in the first movie too, like Carmen, that was played by Denise Richards, who doesn't lend her voice to this piece. As you can see there, that's Carmen. And others who you may remember from the first movie are involved in this too. And this is all as a result of some kind of conspiracy or corruption that is coming from Earth, and in particular the Federation. And that's all I'm really going to say of the story. It's an animated feature. The story doesn't take precedent here. It's just enough to keep you interested without, giving you anything too complex. It's fine. What we do get here is really quite a fine animated movie, and some of the animation, it's like computer generated. It's like a really, really high quality PlayStation 4 cutscene graphics that you would see in something like the Uncharted 4 or something like that. Really, really impressive animation at times. The voice acting's fine throughout. Casper Van Dien's fine as Rico. He gives you his one-liners, do you want to live forever, all that kind of things. Some of the new weaponry and armour that the troopers have got is nice and impressive, and you kind of hope you will see that kind of weaponry and armour in a movie one day for this franchise, because it is my understanding that they're trying to remake or reboot this series into another movie, which I kind of want to see, but the rate Hollywood are spewing out reboots and remakes these days at fairly low quality, you don't really hold a lot of hope up, do you? But if it's done right, I think they could do something good with this franchise, and I think you could go far worse than giving this a shot. Really, if you're a fan of Starship Troopers, I think this is a very, very good movie. It seems respectful to the law and everything that's been laid down before. The animation's fantastic. The action is intense. It is certainly something that you don't want your kids to watch, that's for certain. because there is plenty of violence and gore. You've got swearing. It's definitely not something for children. That's definitely for sure. But I think it's a good movie. This I wasn't bored at all watching it. It kept me interested throughout. It's high quality animation, and it is nice to have some familiar, I say faces and voices back in the franchise. Um, and you do look at it and think, oh, I wonder what this would have looked like as a movie. Um, that would have been very, very interesting. I think this would have been a fantastic movie if they could have done it. However, if this would have been a movie rather than an animated movie, they would have had to have put a lot more work, certainly in regards to character development and story, as some of the characters here do great, and the story at times is really fairly poor, and a little bit confusing and doesn't make sense, which I think is forgivable for an animated piece, but some may disagree. For me, I'm not a huge fan of the Starship Troopers universe lore, so for someone that is, they may well have issue with this movie and elements of it, I think for sure. For anyone else, if you're just a casual fan of this series, you'll probably get some enjoyment out of this because it's not too bad at all.